Hi there. There's been a few videos on dividing monomials by monomials, and now I want to do a little more specialization and give you some alternatives, talking about zero exponents and negative exponents. Sorry. And to me, the easiest way I can explain this is math is really just all about patterns. So 2 to the third is 2 times 2 times 2, and that gives us 8. Right? Do this one and this one, because those are easy. This is 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is 4. And 2 to the 1, you just 1 is 2. Now it gets weird. Right? What the heck does zero exponents mean? Well, this is how I remember. If I go from here to here, I divide it by 2. I go from here to here, I divide it by 2. So we go from here to here, I'm going to divide by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. And if you don't trust me, you got your handy dandy calculator, because you can always check on your calculator. 2. Now on my calculator, I'm going to look it up so you can see. There is a handy dandy XY button. That is my exponent button. And you can see when I hit it, it goes flashy flashy up there. And then I put in a 0 and I hit equals and it says it's 1. So 2 to the 0 is 1. It must be right because my calculator said so. That was a bit facetious because you can type things in calculators. If you don't type it right, then your answer's not right. Okay, anyway, through that. Now, I'm going to finish this pattern because it's going to help us later on. So then if I take 1 and divide it by 2, I'm going to write this as a fractions because it's going to make more sense. And if you go back to calculator, you know this. 1 divided by 2 is going to give you a half, or 0.5. Let's do it again. Divide by 2. Well, that says it's 1 over 4. Whoops. 0.02. Whoops. 25. Oh, goodness. 0.25. And 2. Can you guess? Divide again. Maybe 1 over 8. Or 0.125. This part looks a little crazy, but when you think of it as 1 over 2, 1, and this is 1 over 2 squared, and this is 1 over 2 to the third. You can see where the pattern comes from. So basically, these negative exponents just mean you get 1 over whatever that number is. All right, so to the rules. Anything to the 0 power equals 1. And I don't care what you write it is, but it is to the 0 power, it's going to be 1. So 5 to the 0 is 1. I should have made those bigger. 9 to the 0 is 1. B to the 0 is 1. So remember, b to the 4th divided by b to the 4th. I said, oh, well, those just cancel out and you get 1. Well, you can also think of it in terms of when you divide, you subtract. So 4 minus 4 is b to the 0. I probably even marked that right. But b to the 0, by definition, is 1. F to the 0 is 1. And what's cool is you can even have something in a bracket. You can have this big, long question in the bracket to the 0. It's going to be 1. And there should be a bracket there. Otherwise, that doesn't make sense because brackets always come in pairs. And all of this big mess to the 0 is 1. I could write, I don't know, 15 plus 32 minus 85 divided by 6 times 572 is 1. I love doing that test question. You have students and they're doing all this work and then they get to the last step and they're like, really? Because as soon as you see all of this mess, whatever's in there, to the 0 power, you get 1. Okay, so let's do a little bit on the negative exponents down here. I was trying to find a good way to explain what negative exponents are, and I found Purple Mouth, one of my favorite websites. It's a really good one. And it says negative exponents are just a way to write the base or variable on the wrong side of the fraction line. I don't know who invented these, but sometimes I wonder if it's people who are writing textbooks and stuff and they didn't want to do fractions anymore because fractions are a pain and they take up so much room. So they said, hey, let's make it work like this. So 2 to the minus 3 is really just 1 over 2 to the third. And for today, for this right here, that's all I want you to be able to do. So when you flip from the top down to the bottom, the sign changes. And then this is just whatever the question is going to be. Okay, later on, there's going to be an actual question with this. This is just flipping. So I want you to turn off the video. Do those 3 questions. I'll give you a hint. The last one, 3b to the minus 9, is slightly tricky. Okay, trust that you did that. So this is 1 over 5 to the 4th. This is 1 over z squared. Now, you want to write 1 over 3b to the 9, but that would be wrong. The only thing that has a negative exponent is the 9. So this is actually 3 over b to the 9. If I wanted that, it'd be 3b to the minus 9, and then I would get 1 over 3b to the 9. So if I wanted to move that 3 down there, it would have to be enclosed in a bracket, or I guess I could have a negative 1 on it, but I'm just getting a little too complicated. All right, Julio. It also works backwards. You can flip from something on the bottom. So, reminder, this is a numerator. Bottom number is the denominator. So if I want to move my denominator up to the top, it just becomes b to the minus 4. So what I remember is when you flip from side to side, top to bottom, with exponents, even numbers too. I'm sorry, let's stick with exponents. It just goes from a plus to a minus. So when I move this up, it becomes a to the minus 6, b to the minus 1, and c to the minus 4. I want to say the 1 disappears, but you know what? Really, it's still there. It's that understood. Okay. Turn the video off. Try these next couple of questions. All right, this one's straightforward. Yeah. Notice this 8 is already on the top, so it's staying there. 8c minus 6. I put these last 2 on just for fun. I left a little room because there's completely, these are actual division questions, and there's 2 ways to do it, and there's kind of at least probably 2 answers. So the directions, although they're not written in here, would have said simplify. 2 ways. There's the correct mathematical way, and then there's kind of the Joanne's lazy way because she doesn't like negatives. The correct mathematical way says, when I am dividing, I need to subtract my exponent. So I'm going to get c, and then I'm going to write it out here, minus 2 minus 4, right? It's always top minus bottom. which is going to give me C minus 2 minus 4 more is minus 6. That's an okay question. That is the correct mathematical way to do it. Look over here, and again, we will do the correct mathematical way. A squared minus minus 2 and B minus 5 minus minus 3. What a mess. Okay, so that's where the 2 came from. And then the rule is we subtract, and then it's a minus 2. And subtracting a negative is like adding a positive, so it's 4. We got minus 5 minus minus 3. Those minus 5, that goes to a plus. Oh, goodness. Minus 5 minus minus 3. Minus 5, this goes to a plus, this goes to a plus. Gives me minus 2. Okay. There. Ta-da. There's my answer. There's my answer. Okay. I'm not fond of negatives. This is the or. And math teachers have got so mad at me for teaching it this way, but it makes sense to me. I don't like that negative. So the C4 down here is fine. I don't like this part, so I'm going to move it down to the bottom, because the rule is if you move an exponent or a variable from top to bottom in a fraction line, the exponent goes from positive to negative. Now, I do have to do that little trick of putting the 1 on there, because there is an understood 1 here. You can't just have C4, C2 like that. I'm going to look at that and go, could you finish it, please? So this gives me 1 over C to the 6th, which is, as you know, those two mean exactly the same thing. And if I've given you no other instructions, then they're both right. If I say write it with only positive exponents, this will get you full marks. If I write it with no denominator, then this one would get full points. If I don't bother saying anything, then they're both right. So that one's pretty straightforward. Now, let me just show you on this one. So this is, again, Joanne's not quite so traditional way of dealing with this stuff. I'm going to leave my a squared where it is. Oh, that's the only positive exponent. So this one, I'm going to move to the top, and it becomes a squared. This one, well, I don't know why I did that one next, but I will. I'm going to put it up here. Okay, because when I flip from the bottom to the top, my exponent changes sign, which also means that this one belongs down there. A squared times a squared is a to the 4th, and b3 minus b5, so divided by b5, so 3 minus 5 is b minus 2. Same answer. You could even do it like that. And I would, again, if I haven't given you any directions on what kind of an answer I want, this one's fine, and this one's fine, right? This, again, is one with the positive exponents, and this one is showing no denominator. Either one is just tickety, because math is cool, just like you.